Absolutely. There are easy programs to get into, not only in terms of the schools, there's a lot of different schools that you look into in terms of that are very, very easy to get into. I'm not going to name them, I'm not going to throw them under the bus. But there's also at the different institutions that are ones that you clearly have heard about all over the world, that are also easy to get into. So even within the different universities, there's going to be programs that are very easy to get into for their doctoral programs. But I want you to sort of take a different approach to this. I think you're probably thinking about it. If you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about the problem all wrong. That's not what you should be looking for, right? And this is just based on my own experience, and as well as what we would teach in a business school. So I want to sort of be open with that. All right. So what you're trying to look for is sort of markets or programs or areas that provide value in the marketplace. And generally, those are ones that have entry barriers into those different programs. It's really tough to get into those different programs. And the reason is, and this is applicable, widely applicable across all sorts of industries. This is what I would teach somebody that was, an MBA, for example, and teaching them how to develop I don't know, go into a particular industry to make a bunch of money for themselves, right? So you want to look for industries that have entry barriers that are difficult to get into, and that are generally tough to get into, because that creates sort of artificial barriers for other people entering that industry. So it's not just about that, but you're also trying to look for disciplines or programs that send a strong signal to the market, that you are a valuable resource. And I don't really care what program that you're looking into. It could be sociology, it could be business, it could be, economics, it could be oceanography, it could be whatever it is. I don't really care. But what you're looking for are programs that sort of send a strong signal to the marketplace that you are a valuable resource. Now, not only you want to sort of send that signal to the marketplace, not only to to the university. So maybe you want to become a professor, whatever, or maybe you want to get that signal that you can send to industry as well. So that's what you're looking for, is where there is pretty large entry barriers in terms of it's difficult to get into, but also you're sending a signal that you are valuable somehow in the marketplace, right? And so the programs that don't have those entry barriers, wherever they are tend to be the ones that have a weaker signal. Right. And what you want to look for is areas that demonstrate that you have value in the marketplace, right? So they're probably going to be developing your skills in some sort of way. So in a business program, not only you're going to be learning about your disciplines, right? So accounting, or strategy or whatever it is, but you would be learning some empirical tools that are quite useful, right? So it would be, maybe it's learning R, which is a statistical software thing, or, Python, which allows you to do some programming, or whatever it is that you're looking into, interview skills, for example, that allow you to use those not only at the business school or not only at the institution or whatever you're looking at, but also, perhaps in the industry. And so if you choose at some point in the future to go into industry, you actually have some tools in your, in your tool belt that allow you to sort of leverage that kind of stuff, right? So you need to have that sort of demonstration that you have value. The other thing you need to demonstrate, and so the thing that you're actually doing and what you are about is very difficult to copy, that other people can't copy the same things that you're doing. You're just not replicating what other people are doing. So you're a resource that is difficult to copy, that provides value. And then the other thing that I think is really important is that you need to do something that is pretty rare in the marketplace, right? So, and there's a trade-off there. There's definitely a trade-off in terms of, there's like a technical term for this, which is, I'm blanking on it, but it's called optimal distinctiveness, right? So the sociology literature sort of talks about this, where you need to be different from everybody else. You need to sort of demonstrate that you're kind of a rare resource, but you don't want to be so different that people kind of think that you're a nut. or they can't sort of place you anywhere, right? So you need to have an optimal distinctiveness is really what you're looking for. It's kind of a sweet spot that you can demonstrate that you can, you can fit in anywhere, but you're also really pretty rare in the thing that you are doing and what you possess, right? So this whole framework and this idea, I'm actually borrowing it from the resource-based view, which is something that you would learn in a business school in the strategy program. That's how we identify sometimes that whether there's opportunities that you can go to and actually have pretty good opportunities going forward. So these kind of things that have those that allow you to possess these sort of characteristics or these traits, right? That you're valuable, you're difficult to copy, you're a rare resource. There's another one, non-substitutable, but yeah. So that just means that other things can't substitute for that particular resource. It's not necessarily all that important here, but basically you're looking for programs that have pretty high standards, that they have high entry barriers, whether it is the GRE or GMAT or whatever it is that you're going to be using, that they have pretty high entry barriers. But not only that, that the programs are, that they're going to invest in you as an individual, as a person. So, and those tend to be ones that are pretty well known, and they are developing, a very good culture at the institution. Those are not the ones that are generally, that you see in terms of that they're really easy to get into. It's because, and the reason is, it's pretty simple, right? If we're going to invest in you as professors, it takes a lot of time. It's really difficult to sort of make an investment in you and develop you as a human being, and as a professor. So they tend to be a little bit more hands-on with some of this stuff. And they tend to, they tend to, we tend to build sort of relationships with these kind of things, right? So those are the programs that you want to look for. The ones that are kind of like mass production kind of programs, those are the ones that you're probably going to be lost in. And you'll be coming back to these videos anyways, but you're going to be relying on a lot of these different videos on the YouTube channel, because you're not going to have that much support with that, right? So the programs that have a tremendous amount of support, whatever it is, of talking to people and helping you get through different things, those are the ones that tend to be pretty well known, because they just have a wonderful culture and they generate students that are doing wonderful things, whether it's in industry, or going into academia and doing the academic route, right? So that's generally what we're looking for, or what you should be looking for, is programs that just have a really good culture, that they're going to develop you as an individual and as a person, and that are generally tough to get into, right? You can, yeah, I'm sure you can name all the ones that are pretty famous, right, around the world. Those are the ones that generally will help you get into the things that you need to do, and you're going to excel at those particular programs. And then because it's a competitive market, and there's all these PhD students that are going into the marketplace, and they're looking for different positions in the PhD programs right in their first year, it becomes sort of competitive to compete against the other schools and institutions and programs and stuff like that. So that's what drives up the entry barriers, because there's demand for those different programs, right? So as the demand increases for the specific program, maybe it's at my institution, for example, as demand increases for that particular program, then inevitably in a few years, you kind of have to increase the entry barriers, because it's just, you let's say you get 100 different applications, and then, you have to select on some things. So you end up sort of selecting on sort of higher standards, for example. And so then you're selecting, 5 students out of 100. And that's what's really driving the whole process. And that the reason is a market sort of sees, all you folks see that there actually are programs out there that are providing some sort of value. Now, this is to say, so there's something that's really smart that we've been sort of thinking about in strategy research in the last few years, is you could do sort of arbitrage. So you look for programs that are maybe not, sort of the the cream of the crop where everybody wants to go to, right? But you look for programs that are kind of undervalued. And that's what arbitrage really is. You look for programs that are undervalued because of, weird behavioral things, right? Like people are really strange. So things like maybe it's the location, for example, that doesn't appeal to a lot of people. You can go to programs that are generally really good because of a particular, and the reason is people might not go to that program, but because of the location, but it doesn't mean that the program itself, like the actual quality of the program is not that good. It's just because of the location. So you want to looking for those kind of arbitrage opportunities that allow you to excel, right? If that's the sort of thing that you're looking for is the easier programs, you want to look for ones that are really rigorous, they're really tough to get into, but at the same time, ones that, that not a lot of people are, not sort of the masses are vying for those particular positions. And that's going to be the way that you actually perform arbitrage in sort of all different PhD programs around the world. So that's all I want to talk about in terms of easy doctoral programs is don't think about it as an easy process. It never is. It's always really tough. I don't care who you talk to and what program you talk to. They're always going to say it's tough. If they say it's easy, it probably wasn't worth the time that you spent. And what you should be doing is going to a program that is going to provide value. So go to a professional program, right? Go get an MBA. Go to a law program. Go get a nursing degree, whatever it is. Go do something that's actually going to provide value to you in the marketplace and it's demonstrable value to other people that you actually provide value. And that's probably going to be a better career choice for you than actually going to an easy doctoral program. Because there's nothing worse, and this is what I'm trying to prevent, is for you to go into a program that seems easy and it's, oh, this is simple, right? You go into it, you actually do the thing, but then you don't get a job. That's the worst. Or you do a doctoral program that you just hate, right? Like it's easy, but then not only you don't get a job, but then you're doing something that you don't hate or you don't really like. I mean, that's not what we want at all. That's not what I want. Maybe some people want that. It's not what I want. I want you to excel and to enjoy the things that you're actually going to do for the rest of your life.